Hey butterflies. Hey, this is another video from Miss Durham. Today we're going to do Module 3, Lesson 14, Grade 5. And I'm going to go through the problem set because we usually go through this in class, but because it's a snow day and everybody's at home, we're going to go through the problem set and then I'll just give you the homework assignment to complete at home while you're home enjoying all of the snow. All right, this is Math Made Easy. Miss Storm, do me a favor, go ahead and give me a like. And I need some subscribers. Please subscribe. Let's get started. All right, buddy. So here we're learning how to add more than 3 fractions at a time. So at first we learned 2 fractions and 3, then we did 3 fractions for a little bit, and now we're doing 4 fractions, but we want to try to teach you how to rearrange them to make it easy peasy lemon squeezy for you. Okay, so let's look at the first problem. I'm going to do problem A. This one says 1/4, and let me change my pen here. I like the other pen. 1/4 plus 2 2/3. Okay, plus 7/4 plus 1/3. Now here we have 4 fractions and I have 2 like denominators, right? So I want to try to group them, okay, in common, because my students know that we cannot add or subtract fractions unless they have common denominators, right? So here I have a common denominator of 1/4. Here I have a common denominator of 7/4, and I want you to think of this first fraction as your lead fraction. Okay, so here let me group those 2 together and rewrite. So now I have 1/4 plus, and I want to take the math sign here, okay, or the computation sign here, the sign right before the fraction. So 1/4 plus 7/4. Okay, I want to do that first. So here I'll put a bracket around that, and then I'll bring everything else back down. So here I have plus 2 2/3, and then here I have plus 1/3. Okay, so here let me go ahead and analyze. I know I can add these 2 together because I have like fractions, right? So if the denominators are the same, they stay the same. So this would stay 4. 7 plus 1 equals 8, right? And we know that this is an improper fraction, so we have to divide. 8 divided by 4 equals 2. So the answer here is 2. So now let's move on, because now we have 2 from here, but we have to analyze the rest of our problem here. Okay, very good. So now let's move on. Let's look at this. 2 2/3 plus 1 2/3. They do have common denominators. Sometimes the second 2 fractions won't, but these 2 do have common denominators, so I can add them together, right? I'll add my fractions first. Here I have 3 as my denominator. 2 plus 1 equals 3. And then I have another whole number here, so this is 2 and 2 3/3. We all know that if the denominator is the same on the top and the bottom, this equals 1. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. So now I have whole number 3 here, whole number 2 there. 2 plus 3 equals 5. So this particular problem equals 5. Okay, so that one was pretty easy because both of our like denominators, we didn't have any trouble, any problems here. Let's go to the next type of problem, because I think this problem is a little bit different from the rest of the problems. So let me start and get a new page here. Okay. Now this particular problem says 2 3/5 minus 3/4 plus 2/5. Now remember I said think of this particular fraction, the very first fraction, as your lead fraction. Okay, I want you to think of that as the lead. That's the mom, that's the teacher, that's the head honcho there. That fraction decides, makes all the decisions. Think of that one as your lead fraction. Okay, so now let's try to group our fractions by common denominators, because we know we can't add or subtract without having those common denominators. I see I have a 5 here and a 5 here, so let me rewrite. Okay, so this would be 2 3/5. Now I'm going to take the symbol right before the second fraction, right? Plus 2/5. Okay, now I've used this. I've used this one. The only thing left is the last one. So then I'll do minus 3/4. Now these two are common, so I'll group those two together, right? So let's do those first. I had 2 and 2 and 3/5 plus 2 and 2/5. I'm going to add my fractions first. They both have common denominators, so I know the denominators are the same. They stay the same. 3 plus 2 equals 5 as the numerator. And then I have a whole number of 2 over here. 2 plus nothing, because the other one doesn't have a whole number, equals 2. So now I have 2 and 2/5. My class knows that 5/5 equals 1. So 2 plus 1 now equals 3. So this whole particular fraction equals 3, right? Now I have to do 3 minus 3/4. I'll bring the rest down, right? So 3 minus 3/4. How do we do that? Ms. Durham's going to move over here to the side, right? So here I have 3 minus 3/4. Now, two things here. I need common denominators, but I don't even have a denominator over here. How do you change a whole number into a fraction? You put the number over 1. Good. Very good. So this would essentially be 3 divided by 1, which equals 3. So we just change it into a fraction. Very good. So now we have two fractions that we can subtract, right? Okay, now we have to get common denominators. How do we get common denominators? We have to multiply, and I'm going to rewrite it in the way we do in class. 3 over 1 minus 3/4. In order to get common denominators, we usually multiply. It's not the only way, but it is a very easy peasy way. 4 times 1 equals 4. And now we have to do our standard algorithm. We divide here and cross multiply. 4 divides into 4. 1 times 3 equals 3. 1 divides into the 4 times. 4 times 3 equals 12. So now we have 12/4 minus 3/4. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. If the denominators are the same, guess what? They stay the same. 4 is our denominator. 12 minus 3 equals 9. And so the answer here is 9/4. 9/4. And my class knows that this is an improper fraction. We have to change it into what? A mixed number. Go ahead and pause and see if you can change it into a mixed number. And when you come back, I should have the answer. All right, parents, teachers, family, everybody who's learning and listening. This essentially means 9 divided by 4. 9 divided by 4 is 2, with a remainder of 1, and the denominator stays the same. So I hope you got your mixed fraction 2 and 1/4. I'll show parents and teachers, parents and teachers, because some teachers may not know. I'll show them over here how we got our fractions. I know my students are very smart, and they already know how to do it, but Ms. Durham is going to do it for the rest of the people of the world, okay? 9 divided by 4. How many times is 9 divided into 4? 2 times. 2 times 4 equals 8. 9 minus 8 equals 1. So here I teach my students in order to turn it into a mixed number, this is step 1. Step 2, step 3. It's all about the steps. Step 1 will give you your whole number, okay? So our whole number would be 2 in our mixed number. Step 2 gives you your numerator. Our numerator would be 1. And step 3 gives you your denominator. Denominator would be 4. Very good. So the answer is 2 and 1/4. We were right. Yay for us. Okay, very good. Let's go into a different type of problem. And I might have to split the video into 2 because Facebook is telling me, not Facebook, YouTube. They're telling me that my videos are too long and I'm having a hard time loading. So I have to keep them at around 15 minutes, you all. So I may have to split it into 2. But this particular problem set has so many different types of problems, okay? So let's go to the next problem. 4 3/7 minus 3/4 minus 2 1/4 minus 3/7. And I got a feeling this video is getting too long. Let me see if I can hurry. Okay, first thing you want to know is this is your lead. Okay, think of that one as your lead. Now we want to try to group fractions that have common denominators. I see a 7 here and a 7 here. So let me write those two together. 4 3/7. Now I'm going to take the symbol right before the second fraction, minus 3/7. Now that's grouped together. And then let me bring everything else back down. I'll bring this down and I'll bring that down. Minus 3/4. And then we'll subtract another 2 1/4. Okay, so let's do what's in parentheses first. 4 3/7 minus 3/7. I can subtract my fractions first. 3 minus 3/7 minus 3/7 equals 0. And the only thing left here is 4. So now I have 4. Bring this down. Minus 3/4. Bring this one down. Minus 2 1/4. Okay, so 4 minus 3/4 minus 2 1/4. Let me put this into perspective for you, because some people are not going to understand. What Ms. Durham's going to do, I'm going to add these two, and then I'll subtract both of those from the 4. And let me tell you why. Almost like here, let me make this a little smaller. If we had a little story, and Jezebel had 12 pieces of candy. She gave 7 pieces to Valeria. Okay? Then she gave 2 pieces to Christian. How much candy does she have left? I can take 12 here. I can subtract the 7 and get an answer. And then whatever answer I get, I can subtract the 2 and get an answer. Or I can say 7 plus 2 is how many she gave away in total, which equals 9. And then I can subtract 9 from the 12. So I grouped these two together. Even though they both were subtraction problems, they both were deducted from the total. I grouped these two together. I added them together to get a total of how many that I have to subtract, right? And then I subtracted that total from the 9. So we're going to do the same thing here. So let me erase and give us some room. Okay. Here we go. Be patient with Ms. Durham. Very good. I have to have patience with my students all the time, so my students can return a favor and have patience with Ms. Durham, right? All right, let's get started. So here I have 4 minus the 3/4 and the 2 1/4. So let's add those two together. 2 1/4 plus 3/4. Okay, so let's do fractions first. The denominators are the same. I don't have to do any special things. 3 plus 1 equals 4, and 2 plus nothing equals 2. So it's 2 4/4. 4/4 equals 1. 2 plus 1 equals 3. So we know this here equals 3. Now I have to bring everything else down. 4 has to come down. My minus sign has to come down. And now we're left with 4 minus 3, which equals 1. Yay, 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 yay. So the whole entire problem, we did everything. And the answer is 1. I'm going to stop the video here and give everybody a nice little heart. I love you all so much. And if you don't understand, just stop and pause the video when you need to. Give me some likes and some subscribers, you all. And then come back in and watch it. Or another strategy would be is to watch the full video, then go get your paper and pencil, and you can go back in and try to work and pause and stop and write the questions and stop and write and stop and write. Pause the video as much as you can or as much as you need to. And then also you all can view the video as much as you need to. That's why I send the videos home. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.